Hi guys, I'm so glad to see you here tonight because this is something that can change your life forever. I found this business, over 14 years ago, and my husband was Secretary of State, and when I went to him and said, I want to do network marketing, I mean, he almost fell over. He said, that's pyramid stuff. That's a Ponzi scheme. I don't want you getting involved in that. Don't you realize that I regulate those industries and that nobody can come into our state in one of those unless I check them out? And I said, no, I didn't realize you did that, but I would really appreciate it if you would check this one out. He said, I don't want you to be involved. They're just going to think that if you're involved that I'm endorsing it. And I don't plan to endorse any kind of network marketing. I said, well, you know, Jim, the one thing that I really can always depend on with you is you are fair. No matter what we have to talk about or fight about or anything like that, all our decisions, you're fair. And you're always saying, as a negotiator, he was an attorney before getting into Secretary of State, and he negotiated with unions and management. He was a labor lawyer. And he was so smart, he could get the union members to be happy with management and management to be happy and give raises to the union members. And I said, the reason you did that is because you convinced them that nothing's any good unless you're fair to all parties. I said, so why don't you just check it out? And if it doesn't turn out to be the kind of thing that you think is fair or right, then I won't do it. I wouldn't do anything to hurt your career. He said, well, I'm telling you right now, I'm a Republican, and you know those Democrats are going to get me at the next election if this is not a good business. He did do the research, and he did investigate this type of business. And he was shocked at what he found. Because in 1979, the Supreme Court of the United States declared network marketing legal. And every state in this country has to have a set of laws that the networking companies have to comply with. And it's all on the internet. So every state can check and see if any state has had problems with any company. And believe you me, my husband checked that computer every week. He would pull it up and make sure things were going right. He never wanted me to really get out there because he really was not convinced it would work until the big checks started coming in. And I remember really on the 9th month I was in the business getting a check for $17,000, and I was thrilled, but the money was just not a big deal to me. I saw lives changing. I saw moms staying home with their kids, and I saw welfare moms getting off welfare, and you know, you can't depend on the government to take care of you. And I was so excited that I could make a difference. I went to a luncheon that was put on by the governor of our state, and I got to sit, the Secretary of State's the third, it's the lieutenant governor, and then, so I had to sit beside the governor. And that was very nerve-wracking. And my husband really lectured me before we went. He said, do not mention anything about that business. He says, I promise you, you can only get me in trouble if you do that. And so when I sat down next to the governor, he looked at me and he said, how's that network marketing business going? And he introduced me to the group, guys, as the biggest little capitalist in South Carolina. It was really, really neat. He said, she's bringing more money into our state through this industry than we're able to get by signing up BMW. Even with all the companies that are coming as a result of that, this business can bring more because she is helping millions and millions and millions. That wasn't true, but you know how politicians exaggerate. And he says what she's doing is giving them a chance to take care of themselves. And that's really what our goal should be, is to not only take care of ourselves, but make a way for the people we influence and the people we care about to take care of themselves. And you can do it with this business, guys. It took me 2 years to make $1 million. Imagine that. My husband couldn't believe it. He said, you're making more than I did as a labor lawyer, and that's the second highest profession in the legal field. And he says, how's a little woman like you doing that? And I said, it's not me. It's all the hundreds and hundreds of people that have been touched through a few people that I've brought in, and then they've gotten some. I had over 300,000 reps in my whole organization, and I had only brought in a few. And that's all you have to do. Just bring in some winners. Go out there and, as Paul, our owner, said, you can't tell the duds from the studs. Go out there and don't judge anybody. Give them the opportunity, because you're going to find people that don't look like they could do anything. They can set this thing on fire because they've never had a chance like this. An honest way to make an honest living and help a lot of other people with their lives too. Now, I want to close this by telling you why I got into network marketing. I was in the insurance business before that, and I made a lot of money in that industry. But I had to sell something people had to die to get. But I heard through the years about my great-great-grandfather. He owned a bottling company called the Clinton Bottling Company, and he lived down in Augusta, Georgia. And his best friend was John Pemberton, the man over in Atlanta, the pharmacist, who invented the Coca-Cola formula. He was best friends with him, so he went to him and said, if you'll bottle this new soft drink for me, I'll give you half of Coca-Cola. We'll own it 50-50. Still makes me shudder to think about it. My great-great-grandfather, instead of thinking about his family, his ancestors, anything, all he thought about was what he knew, and he'd never heard of anything like this. So he said, that stuff tastes terrible. It'll never sell. Just pay me for the bottles. I don't want to own any of that company. He only made 2 shipments before they got their own bottling company, and he died broke. But our family never forgot him. Every year at our family reunion, we'd hear the story of this poor fella who could have owned half of Coca-Cola, and he missed it. Now remember this, guys. Great opportunities never go away. If you don't take it, somebody else will. Thank you so much.